Here we have an '07 Buell Ulysses XB12X. It's the 1203cc Sportster-derived Buell engine. Makes about 100 horsepower. I'm not sure about the torque, but it's a very torquey beast, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting up close to that number as well. Has some recent maintenance, including neutral switch, some turn signals, heated grips, brakes all the way around, front brake rotor, some new levers, as well as a Energy One racing clutch that eliminates the judder spring. The bike runs and rides great. It is very well maintained, has just over 17,000 miles on the clock. Some decent Michelin tires here. They have likely several seasons left depending on how you ride. It just had a recent oil change, and other than the pieces mentioned, the bike appears to be 100% stock. It doesn't seem like it's had a ton of tinkering or anything over the years, which in my opinion is always a good thing. There are several of these windscreens, a black one, a blue one, a high windshield, a short windshield. I don't have any of those installed on it right now. This is kind of a Street Fighter look here. Looks pretty good from the side, but I do have a few different windshield options available that would come with it. It's been a good bike. It's quite a tall bike, so if you're not 5'10", or an experienced rider that can handle a taller bike, like if you came from dirt, this might not be a bad bike for you. But if you're a taller rider, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to flat foot and all of that. It starts right up, shifts through all the gears as should. The belt tension was recently checked. All of the wheel bearings were checked. You can actually see the front and rear wheel bearings have actually been replaced within probably the last year or so. The air filter is good. Recent oil change, recent primary oil. When the clutch was done, it does have a battery tender installed on it here, so you can plug it in and charge it whenever you want. And along with the heated grips, which are controlled down here, it does have the stock 12-volt outlet, has been replaced with a dual USB that also has a voltage readout, so you can see the volts coming out of the alternator while riding. You can see your battery's voltage. It's currently running Harley Formula X 2050 in the primary and the engine. No issues whatsoever. The only reason I'm potentially looking to change hands with it is that while I like the bike, I bought it to do some adventure riding, and after riding it on the streets for about 500 miles or so, I've kind of come to the realization that this bike is a beast and is a much more capable bike than I am a rider. So I'm probably looking to downsize in horsepower and performance a little bit for something that's a little bit more dirt oriented. This thing is a performance monster, and I think that if I got it out on gravelly fire roads or up in the mountains doing some adventure riding, I'd probably get myself in trouble. This thing has a ton of power on tap, but with the increased ground clearance and stuff like that, it is the absolute ultimate street fighter. It handles like a sport bike, and it has ground clearance to where you can, take city streets that maybe haven't been maintained very well, or, if you need to drive up and over a curb or something like that, this bike can actually do that and not suffer anything for it. Go ahead and start it up here in a second. It is warm. I rode it over here, so there we go. Stock exhaust. see the brake pads here, how thick they still are. Same with the fronts up here. There's a ton of life left on those. It is warm, so we can go ahead and rev it real quick. Mainly interested in cash, but would potentially take a trade for the right type of bike. Maybe one of the smaller KTM Adventures, 640 L4, something like that. More dirt-oriented bike, as long as it has a decent-sized fuel tank. BMW F650 Dakar. Not really interested in like KLR 650 or anything like that, but you know, more of the adventure bike, even an older BMW R1100 or something like that. Just something that's maybe a little bit more dirt oriented, and maybe something that has a little bit less than 100 horsepower. This thing is an absolute blast, but for the type of riding I want to do right now, I think it's just a performance overkill, and it would be a shame to start beating on such a well-maintained bike and a good-looking bike. I guess opinions aside, I happen to think it's a good-looking bike, and it would be a shame for someone of my skill to take it out off-road and, through my own incompetence, ruin it. No accidents, anything like that. No signs of it ever being down. It is just a machine that's ready for a rider. So if you have any trades, or you want any more information, you want to schedule a time to come see it, feel free to reach out. Thanks so much. Have a good day.